Alright class, before this you have been explained about 4 operations involved in information processing cycle. There are input, process, output, and storage operation. Hope you guys understand what is IPC already. So next, we are going to look at the second learning outcome, where you should be able to analyze the use of IPC in today's technology. So for this learning outcome, you should be able to relate the latest technology that we have around us with the IPC that you have learned before. You need to do a lot of readings from outside source, okay, and you should improve your general knowledge on technology around us nowadays, so that you can get the ideas of how they relate with IPC. To analyze the use of IPC in today's technology, let's look at our first example here. The technology involved is automated teller machine or ATM machine. Hope you guys know how to use ATM machine before. And if not, you need to ask your friend and on how it works, okay, when it comes to the usage. Okay, first example here, the question, a user withdraws money at ATM machine. Explain the operations of IPC during this activity. So what the question 1 is, you should be able to explain the IPC that involving withdraws money activity. So how you are going to answer this question? First, memorize the operations involved. The first one is in input. So what are the activities that can be categorized in input operation? So we give you 2 examples here, 2 examples of answer here. The first one, the computer accepts the data stored in the debit or credit card, which is read by the ATM card reader. Okay, the machine that read the card is called card reader, ATM card reader. We use the verb accept here. The verb accept is used here to refer to input operation. To refer to input operation, we use the keyword or verb accepts here. The computer accept. Okay, accepts is categorized under input operation. Okay, besides the data stored in the debit or credit card, you may explain the second answer here as given here. The computer accepts data such as PIN number, transaction type, and amount of money entered by a user through keypad. Next answer that you can give is this one. The computer accepts data such as PIN number, transaction type, and amount of money entered by the user through keypad. You will see the same verb is used here. We still use the same verb, that is accept. Why? Because accept is referred to input operation. You don't need to mention all these 3, PIN number, transaction type, amount of money. You don't need to explain. You don't need to mention all these 3. If you give only one of these, even if you give only one of these, you will still get full mark. Okay, either PIN number or transaction type or amount of money is considered correct. Okay, let's look at the second operation, that is process. So what are the activities that can be categorized under operation process? Look at here. The computer deducts the amount of money that user has to pay. The computer deducts the amount of money that user has to pay. Second point, the computer updates the latest balance in the card. Okay, so we have 2 points here to answer here. The verb that we use for the first answer is deducts. Deducts is the suitable verb that represent process. The second point here, the computer updates. Okay, this is a famous popular verb that represents process operation. Update. Update what? Update the latest balance in the card. So new words here, deducts. New verb for you here, deducts. Deducts what? Deducts the amount of money that user has to pay. So deduct is referred to process. That's the process performed by computer. It deducts the amount of money that user has to pay. So we have 2 answer here, 2 example of answer for process. Next is how about output operation? How about output operation regarding touch and go payment? Okay. So we have 2 example of answer here. The first one is the toolbar is lifted. The toolbar is lifted. So the verb here is lift. Okay, lift. Lift is the verb that we can relate with output operation. Lift is the verb that we can relate to output operation for this situation. The second answer that you may give is this one. The computer displays the card's latest balance on the display panel. The computer displays the card's latest balance on the display panel. We usually can see how much our balance left on our Touch 'n Go card, okay, before we leave the gate. Okay, so the second verb here is this display. So this is also the popular verb that we use to relate to output operation. So the last one, the last operation is storage. As you can see here, we use the same verb. Okay, so let's look at the sentence. Computer save the card's balance, time and location into the user's Touch 'n Go account. The computer save the card's balance, time and location into the user's Touch 'n Go account. So the verb here, as usual, we will use the verb save. So because of course it's referred to the storage operation. So that's all for this situation regarding payment using Touch 'n Go card. Next, let's look at our third example. So here the technology involved is a vending machine. Vending machine. Let's look at the questions. A customer buys a drink from a vending machine. Analyze the operations of IPC during this activity. So if you look at the situation here, okay, vending machine, or maybe all of you have used it before, have experience in using a vending machine. So hope you guys can imagine what are the activities involved during using it to buy drinks. Let's look at how we are going to answer. For input operations, the activities that we can relate to input operations is this one, okay? The machine accepts the amount of money inserted, and the option of drink selected by the customer. So as you look at here, actually we have 2 points here, 2 activities here. The first one is the machine accept the amount of money inserted, and second answer you may write the machine accept the option of drink selected by the customer. You may separate this answer into 2 points. Okay? If the question asks for 2 activities. Okay? As you can see here also, the verb still accept. Okay? The verb we use to represent input operation is still accept. But this time we refer the things as the machine. Do not mention computer, is okay. Okay? The machine accepts the amount of money inserted and the option of drink selected by the customer. Second is process operation. Process operation, let's look at how we answer this question. The machine checks whether the money inserted is sufficient for the drink chosen. The machine checks whether the money inserted is sufficient for the drink chosen. So the verb we use here is check. Okay, the verb we use here is check. Check is represent process operation. Next, let's look at the third operation, that is output operation. Output operation for buy drinks using vending machine. So what are the activities can we relate to output operations? Look at the answer here. The first one, the machine dispenses the drink bought. The machine dispenses the drink bought. We use the verb dispense. And the second answer you can write, the machine returns the change, if any. The machine returns the change, if any. So you will see a new verb here. Okay, you never hear this example before. We use the verb return and also this dispense to refer to the output operation. The last one is storage operation. Storage operation, look at the example of answer here. The machine saves the amount of money received and the amount of drinks left. We have 2 activities here. Okay, the machine saves the amount of money received and the machine saves the amount of drinks left. So that's the example of using a vending machine. Now our last example of the use of IPC in today's technology. So the situation here is in business activity. Let's look at the question. The question is quite long. Example 4. Miss Bella sells scarf to 3 customers. All of the customers made the payment at the same time. The first customer deposits 1 Rm100 and the second customer deposits Rm220 into her account at 2 different ATM machines. Her third customer paid Rm100 by cash at her shop. Miss Bella's account balance before those transactions is Rm200. Analyze the process and storage of Miss Bella's bank account during that time. Analyze, once again I repeat, analyze the process and storage of Miss Bella's bank account during that time. When you read this question, you already know the activities happen here, and then the question just wants you to explain or analyze 2 operations. First one is process and second is storage, not all 4 as usual, as we have been discussed before. So the question only wants 2 operations, process and storage. So let's look at how we are going to answer this kind of question. Here are the answer for Bella's situation. Okay, the first operation is process. You need to give two answers here. The first one is when the first customer paid and the second customer paid. The third customer, she just used cash, so no need to explain anything here. It doesn't involve IPC. So the first customer pay 100 ringgit, then it will be added to RM 200. 200 is Bella's account balance before those transaction. And when the second customer pay RM 220, it will be added to RM 300 in Bella's account. So that's the process happen. While for storage operation, we just use the verb save as usual. The machine save RM 520 into Bella's account. The total up for Bella's account, previous balance, and then total up with first customer and second customer payment. For this kind of question, you need to use specific figure here like this: 100, 200, 300, 220. Why? Because the scenario give figures to you. So you need to explain using specific data when you give your answer. Alright, remember that. We come to the end of topic 1.1. So here are the summary for 1.1. You should be able to define what is IPC. IPC is the sequence of events involved in processing of information. And hope you guys also able to memorize the four operations involved in IPC. There are input, process, output, and storage. Before we end our lecture, here's some technologies that I would like you to explore: Internet of Things and Smart Things. After this lecture, don't forget to answer the question as provided in this link below. Till we meet again in another video. Thanks for watching.